The legend of Wiccademus can be traced back to an undocumented colony on Amelia Island in the mid-1600s, although no record of any colony located in the area existed until the mid-1700s. It is not without reason to wonder if the Spanish or French had an undocumented settlement there. The island certainly has pleasant weather. It would have been located near a well-traveled shipping lane along the Atlantic coast. It was less than 75 miles from the historic city of St. Augustine, so we can speculate, and many have, it is not outside the realm of possibility that there might have been an undocumented settlement. The story goes that a coven of witches lived among the live oaks. It is said that they danced with entities and enchanted the men of the settlement to do bad things. As the settlement fell under the power of the coven, a witch finder was hired to come and root out the coven. Once discovered, this began a series of trials that predated those of Salem by nearly 50 years. When all was said and done, the coven was destroyed with a series of mass hangings except for a little girl. She was spared because of her age, and it was thought that she could be transformed. The little girl would later be pinned as the leader of the coven because it is said she had mastery control over a demon named Wiccademus. The demonic creature had control over the winds and rain and could turn a man's heart from God to the devil. The little girl was later put on trial and found guilty. She was hung and buried among the live oaks. It is said right before she was hung, she put a curse on the settlement and the surrounding area. In modern times, it is said that if you walk the trail to the live oaks, you will find a grave marker at the base of the tree she was hung from and then buried under. And if you speak the name Wiccademus 3 times, the demon itself or the little girl will appear to you with a fury of wind, immobilizing you, and from that moment after, Wiccademus will haunt you in your dreams. So with my Ouija board, tarot cards, and investigative equipment packed and ready, we headed out to the area to see if we could communicate with Wiccademus or the little girl. Upon our arrival, my husband Brian and I came to the realization that the land was being developed into a housing subdivision. Nothing remained of the area other than the old wooden stand that marked the entrance of the trail. Upon further research, we discovered that there was a small attempt to preserve the area, but since there's no archaeological evidence or any historical records indicating the existence of a settlement, the land was sold, and as you can see, it's on its way to having houses built there. All right, in conclusion, Brian and I were upset, of course, that they're redoing this area. It's going to become a housing subdivision. So we were sad upon arrival when we got there that we couldn't investigate. And we did walk around for a while. Ultimately, technically, we could have done an investigation, use the Ouija board, the tarot cards, just calling to spirits, EVPs, video. But I didn't feel it necessary. The area actually felt really calm. The energy of the area didn't correlate to the severity of the legend. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, this could just be folklore. It has been told for many generations, and there usually is some truth behind folklore mixed in, and then, as people tell stories, this gets added, this little piece, and so on and so forth. So ultimately, the area could just be a legend, a story of folklore that's been shared with family member after family member generation after generation, and you know, there it is. Because I didn't feel any type of hostile energy or anything of the sort while walking around in this area. And I'm definitely of the belief that if it's not necessary to do an investigation, that you shouldn't, especially considering this area is going to become a housing development. There's going to be houses built here, family homes. It's very close, just around the way, across the street from a high school and a middle school. So I can imagine these are going to be family homes, and I wouldn't want that on my conscience to be there opening up portals and doorways to communicate with any spirits in the area, especially if we were to put some truth behind the legend and folklore that is told. If this is indeed a hostile spirit and it has moved on, why call it back to the area, especially if we're going to have people, family, children like that living within this area. So we didn't do the investigation, but it was a beautiful area. I was saddened to see that it had been demolished, just from a Mother Nature point of view. Live oaks and oaks can be hundreds of years old, just stunning, beautiful trees. But unfortunately, if you can't show a reason and prove it through historical records or archaeological evidence that this area needs to be protected or preserved for animals or something like that, it will be sold. And unfortunately, that's what happened. So we were saddened by that. It was cool to at least stand present at the old wooden sign and the entrance, about, I'd say 20 feet where the would have gone into the path was. Unfortunately, like I said, they had already started building. The subdivision, the construction on the subdivision started approximately 9 months ago, give or take, from what I could find from my research. It's just one of those things. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you have the best intentions, you can't wait to investigate, and then you get to a location and it's just not possible. So that's where we are. We did enjoy Amelia Island. We love going out there. There's other places we did visit that day, since we didn't get to do an investigation at Wiccademus. I will be sharing that in the future with the group, the pictures and stuff. We went to one of the cemeteries, Bella Cemetery. I love that cemetery. It's beautiful. We've been there a dozen times. So we decided to pay a visit since we weren't able to do our initial investigation. So please just share your comments and stuff. I'd love to hear what you guys think about the situation. Do you think there's some truth? Do you think it's just strictly legend and folklore, a magnificent story that's been passed down through many generations? Or, you know, is there some truth there? I'd love to hear your opinion. So peace, love, happiness. Make sure you take care of one another, and I'll talk to you guys soon.